Welcome back, and in a battle that had a lot of meaning for both teams, Legacy still holding on to that top spot, and Spawn probably not the start that Order would have wanted, but it led to an ending that seemed inevitable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Legacy just looked like the better team on the day, and I think that, Order had won 8 games in a row coming into this one, and we're in some really good form. But Legacy just showed that class, and I talk about this all the time. You have to kind of ignore form when Legacy play, just because on any given day, if their carries show up, they will be able to win the game. And I don't know how that first spear hit on the push out, but it did. And that led to the big snowball that started rolling down the hill. And what you know about Legacy is if you give them an advantage, like they're dangerous when they're 10k gold behind. Like give them a 10k gold lead and they're going to be able to close out majority of games. So it's just, continued credit to the organization and that roster because they do look like one of the most dangerous teams in the league, and they had Order's number today.
And Rusty, speaking of rosters, obviously Legacy shaking it up a little bit. How was the mid lane, in your opinion, with Halo?
I mean, he didn't have to do anything to win this game. All he had to do was exist, and they would have won the game because of the strength of their top laner and jungler. And so there was a couple of deaths there, but so be it. It's very hard to comment on how Halo played when he didn't need to have a role, and that was his role,
I mean, yes and no. I think you are being a little bit nice. He was 30 CS down and 2 kills. Like, if that's not a monster Aatrox, you're not winning that game if you're Halo, 9 out of 10 times. I think that from what you see yesterday, Tally plays a control mage matchup, goes completely neutral. I think ends the game 5-1 or something like that. Halo plays a control mage into control mage matchup, which should be his wheelhouse. Harry's definitely not the best control mage player in the league. I think, Shock, Claire, Tally, all these kinds of guys play definitely better at that style. And Halo, I think, struggled in that matchup a lot. I think that if it wasn't for that Aatrox and then Italy, that could have been worrying. He didn't int as hard as DOS. So I will counter this by showing that I am not unbiased, because the way I was going to intro this game was it was a great 4v3 victory by Legacy, because Legacy didn't have a mid laner and Order didn't have a top laner or a jungler that game. And so in the battle of these wills, the 4 beat the 3. But I think that Halo, I can't remember, apart from that Karma game, I can't remember a actual performance where it's come out and he's actually looked really comfortable on Summoner's Rift just yet.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit that I was being very nice because I spent the entire game critiquing him. So it's very hard to come out of that and be like, I've been mean, let's continue.
All right, well, congratulations to Legacy with their dominant march towards the grand finals. And congratulations are in order for 2 members of the OPL community, because we're going to pick some EPOS competition winners right now. We've been running this competition over the last couple of weeks for you to win a GSP 600 gaming headset just by telling us your most out-of-this-world gaming memory. We've got a ton of entries. We've narrowed it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we need to narrow that down live on air to 2. Gentlemen, are we ready to hear the finalists?
Let's get it.
The first one at JB49376296, who I do think should lose just for...
That's a good name.
Terrible username. 10 years ago, her favorite gaming memory was 10 years ago exploring MMORPGs. Raging at the grind one night, I nagged my mum to create a healer and play with me. I gave up the grind. Mum kept playing for all those years until recently, as she sadly passed, the community held an in-game ceremony showing their love for her. How nice is that?
How do you pack it up? Give him both headsets.
What does she mean?
That's pulling at the heartstrings. Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be awful if they don't win, because there's going to be a lot of guilt with that one as well.
The thing is, it's a 10 out of 10 story. And it's a 2 out of 10 name. And that's my only critique, because the story's fantastic.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better that if they don't win, it's because of the name. That works. That's a beautiful story. Go mum, for playing all those years as well. And that's also great parenting to go, all right, you're raging at the computer one night. I will sit down and learn this incredibly, intricate MMORPG just to help. I think that's pretty awesome. Next entry comes in from Jimmy Icefang, who I know is in the chat watching right now. Jimmy says, I was playing Resident Evil 7 in VR at a friend's party, and they decided it was funny because I couldn't hear anything happening outside of my headphones. And when I took the headset off, everyone was gone, and I felt and I felt I was inside some weird horror experiment. Then I had freaked out when they appeared out of nowhere. 100% would not recommend.
That's good. I like that. Those some funny mates.
Well, you need a headset because you're going to be playing a lot of games alone because you need new friends. Because that's like the cardinal rule. The cardinal rule of VR gaming is you do not abandon and scare the person in the headset. Thank you very much for that, Jimmy. Okay, up next. Trasterix, yes. I was on exchange to Malaysia with uni and decided to go to Taiwan for the 2019 MSI and was in a stadium where 99% of people didn't speak English. Didn't matter though, because the match was between G2 and SKT, was possibly the best match ever, and the crowd was absolutely electric. And best of all, I only had tickets for the semi-final, but I showed up the next day to see if I could get in for the final as it was sold out, and managed to get myself a VIP pass to G2 destroying TL in the finals thanks to MasterCard. It was one of the most amazing experiences.
That's awesome.
That's solid.
That's a great memory.
There was.
I will say.
Sorry, you can go.
No, Rusty, you go.
Mine's actually a tangent, so if you've got something about that, then go for it.
Dude, I have nothing of value to ever contribute to that, so please.
So I think the coolest thing about just showing up and hoping you get in is like that. Like humans can be very kind in those situations, and it seems like there's always a chance, and just like banking on that chance to me is just badass.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
also scalpers are just immoral people. So even if they're not nice people there's probably some mean people that you can buy a ticket from. So
Absolutely.
just always show up.
Yeah. Okay, the next one comes in from Bishop_lol. Staying up till 3 a.m. with my partner, battling solo queue. At the time, she was 41 weeks pregnant. Wow. By the time we got off and went to bed, she went into labor for a solid 3 days.
Wow.
We will never forget that night. And then rounds it out with, by the way, it was worth I hit Diamond 2, if anyone was wondering.
That's a win. Chalk it
Like
up.
the first thing he says to his kid, you made me lose my promo games, bro. Come on.
You Diamond.
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing.
That's not bad,
fantastic.
because that's
like that
probably
a
the
lot.
last time that person ever played League of Legends as well. Because ever since I had it, there's just no way. Like, League of Legends is literally roll the dice on whether it's a 15-minute game or a 65-minute game. And when you have a child, that's just not a risk you can take very often.
Also, any online multiplayer game where you boot in with a party is some sort of guaranteed voodoo that your child will wake up 5 minutes after the queue pops. Like,
Correct.
there's just if you need your child to wake up for some reason, just start playing a multiplayer game. And then the final finalist is Noob Zones, who says, the time favorite gaming memory, most out of this world gaming memory, the time when I started playing League. I queued into a game after tutorial and destroyed everyone in game, with the opponents even saying how good I was after obliterating the Nexus. I was kind of flexing on everyone in the lobby, and then I realized I was playing against intro bots.
Do intro bots speak?
I think they do. I think they say like generic words.
Yeah, I think that isn't it just stuff like GG and like well done,
welcome
and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I have absolutely been in that scenario where I think that I'm absolutely slaying, and then it turns out it's just the computer. Okay, so we've got JB with the story about Healer Mum. We've got Jimmy Icefang with Terrible Friends and Resident Evil 7 in VR.
Yeah. Isn't it supposed to be... Is it memorable moment or good moment?
It's out of this world gaming moment, so it's just like a defining gaming moment or a incredibly memorable one.
Okay.
So all of these are eligible. We've got Trastrix with getting into MSI. We've got Bishop with the pregnant partner and hitting Diamond 2, which was the most important part of that story. And then we've got Noob Zones, who was flexing on intro bots.
Okay. I like Healer Mum and Pregnant Story.
I mean, we have to, like, are we saying that Healer Mum is just like in?
Oh, yeah.
Like, Healer Mum's just in.
Yeah, correct.
Those are my two favorite, yeah.
If we give you this headset, JB493762696, I need you to DM me a screenshot of you changing your username. That's what I need. I will only give it to you if you do that.
Good deal.
Jake?
I like the MSI story.
Well, it's a good story, but my only concern is that this person already had a hookup thanks to a brand. which was MasterCard, which they shouted out in the story. So they would just be getting prizes from brands all over the place if they win this one. But make your case for that.
Well, I mean, I'm just all about the richer getting richer and the poorer getting poorer. And if you want the opinion on that one, no, I think I'm thinking back to that MSI, and I was lucky enough to cast the TL versus IG game on the opposite side of the bracket with I think Kobe and Captain Flowers, and I was just like, I can remember how epic that MSI was, because it was the first time that NA versus Europe was going to happen in an international tournament final since Worlds was only NA in Europe. So that was actually an out of this world gaming experience, and to actually be there live for it. I was in a studio in LA casting at 4 a.m. in the morning. To actually be there during daylight hours, see the crowd, feel the energy, that would have been pretty cool, I think.
That's a good argument. And Trastrix is in the chat and is trying to pander to you by sending you love hearts.
Oh, absolutely. And has been DMing me and promising me outrageous amounts of money for this headset. So I would really like to be able to get it over the line.
Thanks to MasterCard.
Yeah.
Skimmy, you said healer and pregnancy, was it?
Yeah. No, I like the healer story because I'm a big MMO player myself, so I'd imagine if you got those connections, which is also what the game is built around, every time you're logging in, you're just feeling a little bit better about yourself, maybe spending so much time playing it, or you got the sort of connection with it. And I just find the pregnancy story it's comedy, right? It's you've got a partner that you enjoy something with, you were playing that, then that happened, but then the butt of the joke is, but I still got promoted to Diamond, so it's okay.
Rusty?
I like the VR. I think that he's been messed with enough. I think he needs a new headset, new friends all together.
Yep. Okay. So it's down to me then.
Yeah.
I need and I like noob zones. No. Okay, so it's either Resident Evil 7, MSI. See, Spawn makes a very good point about MSI being a real out-of-this-world gaming memory. So in the spirit of the competition, that seems like a good winner. But I do also agree that pregnant partner, you're not going to be playing video games anymore because you have a kid. Jimmy Icefang, you are going to be spending a lot of time alone. Congratulations, you win the second headset, Jimmy Icefang. Our winners, JB49376296, or the artist formerly known as JB49376296, and Jimmy Icefang. Congratulations. Please send a DM if you're watching right now to the Riot channel in Twitch or on Twitter, and we'll get your details. Congratulations. And a big thank you to EPOS for that. We're going to be running another EPOS competition starting next week, so everyone will have a chance to enter again and maybe win themselves another gaming headset. But until then, it is time to jump into game number 2. It's Chiefs versus Gravitas, and it is coming up thanks to another one of our sponsors with the Macca's Jam Select.
And he's back. He's made it. He's done it. Have you got your water? Yeah. Are you ready to go? Are you hydrated? Are you going to get sweaty for this game? Because it's the Chiefs taking on Gravitas. The Chiefs, well, after their victory yesterday against Peninet.gg, we saw a big resurgence of aggression of teamfight prowess and ability to say that we can carry. And they've done their homework. They saw what Gravitas showcased yesterday, and they have already banned away to Zed.
Yeah, they're going to get rid of one of the champions from Human here. I mean, it's fair to say that expectations into this game haven't changed too much. We're always going to be looking at Gravitas. And I like the first 2 bans from Chiefs because they're not just individual playmaking champions. They are specifically champions of those players, and they're getting rid of the type of snowballing and outplay potential that may be unfamiliar, right, to the average, to the layman team. And not many teams will have experience against these types of compositions. So I like that they've just been removed completely. Try and, when you're against the blue shell type situation, always just try and remove the variabilities, remove anything that might be confusing, bring the game to as basic a state as possible so that you can just be the better team, right? Which is what you're supposed to be.
Which is what they should be, based on the standings as it stands so far. They come into this one 9-6, whereas Gravitas 1 win and 14 losses, unfortunately for them. It hasn't been the best start, the best season. But regardless, there are some glimmers of hope, as we've said. That is what we're really looking for coming out of this team to close off Split 2. Is an identity that we've definitely found between their mid and jungle. But then looking to find success that can then try to fuel the fun, I guess is the best way to put it, elsewhere in the map as well.
The Karma first pick here, that variability. It's weird seeing Chiefs be a Karma team as well. I know that Claire can play those control mages, but I'm much more comfortable seeing him on the Syndra, the Orianna versions of it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, Croc seems to have refound his form, I will say, and that's a pretty big deal. So it does enable things like the Karma, which, you know, it's not like we haven't seen this from the Chiefs. It's just that we usually saw it from the Chiefs when Claire wasn't on his red-hot form. The rest of the team was. But hey, if Croc's found his way back in, let's empower him.
Certainly should, because we'll be going into an Italy, as Praetos will be looking to try and farm and really put on the Babip show, as we got to see in game number 1. Nobody going to go for the Bards, and that's going to mean that Beats will have played a Bard in the last 3 games, looking to try and tap into success that the pick offers. Going to be into a similar matchup. He went into a Callista yesterday, and that is what the Chiefs are currently hovering so far, and they're going to guarantee it. So I'm not going to see the center once again. And it feels like we're going back to, well, there is a Xin Zhao. We have not seen that in a while. We saw it once, I believe, in playoffs from Croc.
It's not familiar regardless.
It's derailed my point completely is what I'm getting at.
We've gone for the Duelist from Demacia here as a pick for Croc. Now, it's interesting because I was thinking that Dragu could also still be the Karma. And he may still well be that pick given that they've got the Callista there. But when you've gone for something like the Xin Zhao, you know, the heavy duelist type champion, I wouldn't be afraid to put the Karma with it. You know, you could put a Lulu mid lane for all I care. If that Xin Zhao is empowered and fed, nothing stops him. He is a unit. So that move speed is very valuable.
They drafted it in playoffs into Legacy, into a Lee Sin jungle. That's what I've just found out here. Unfortunately, that would be a game he'll want to forget. He finished that game 0-6-4. But if he's found that form from yesterday, if he finds success for this pick, then everybody will be singing his praises. There's no doubt about that one. Suman going to get the Akali. Going to say you can ban away one, but I can always take the other.
Yeah, and it is going to be Suman playing the Akali 99%, right? It's not going to be nobody in top lane. There are a couple of top laners that'll play the pick, but Suman's just a monster with his assassins. He is refinding himself as an identity, you know, the Z-ban, the Akali pick. And it's exciting and very refreshing to see from him once again, because there was that middle of the split period where he was just being a support for his team again, and it was not working at all. Even if he needed to be the stability of the team, that may not have been the way to do it. But still, it does mean that Claire has his pick available to him, and a couple of mid laners being taken away to make that just a bit harder for him.
Yeah, looking to deny a few of those matchups that aren't so fun there for the Akali, as the Chiefs are now going to respond by targeting nobody. As we know, he likes to play the tanks and the bruisers, so goodbye to those. As well, there is the Puma Vayne, the only guy in this league that has played it. He's going to do it again, and well, this gets a little bit spicy now.
What a composition. Look at all of the synergy that they've got going for him here. You can condemn someone into a Bard ultimate. Yep.
I was like, okay, I'm listening. Carry on. Tell me more.
That's it. That's the joke. They're going to need something as a last pick to help round out this composition. It does look like it's going to be nobody in top lane, so that's possible. He's going to see his matchup in a second here as well, as we have just received the information that was kind of expected after the Xin Zhao pick, that Claire, at the very least, a solo laner, is going to be playing the Karma. Dragu gets his Nautilus, and he's been doing very well on the pick.
He has, and this is the aggression that we've seen from the Chiefs and find the most success with, as the Jace now will be the final pick. A ton of mobility, a ton of collapse potential. There's no denying that, but the poke to try and zone away the threats the Gravitas are throwing their way. What is that final pick? This is what happens when a team has no pressure. They draft like crazy people. If we see a Nasus, then the game just becomes a case of how many stacks does the Nasus have? They're not going to do it. They're just flirting with us. They're going to go for the Poppy in the end.
Yeah, Poppy actually pretty good in the Jace. There was a time, a long time ago, where Jace would always find himself with like a 30 CS advantage, and Poppy would bring that back around eventually once you get those first items. And I wouldn't say that's too significantly different in the current state of the game. It's very volatile. If the Poppy gets any kind of lead, it can just snowball out of control. But when you're against the Poppy as Jace, you can't use your hammer form Q. So you actually do lose a decent amount of your poke that can come from full combo trades. And it kind of actually just removes the entirety of your melee form in general. So one of the ways that you could often deal with that is like a Mana Mune build, where you can just sit back, have the mana pool to stay in ranged form, instead of something like the lethality, which doesn't work against the Poppy regardless. So we'll see how this one actually does continue to go here regarding draft. Claire actually a very important member of this team for the Chiefs, as he is majority of the magic damage.
Yeah, he will be the majority of the magic damage, but I'm not going to be lucky when it comes to mobility to get on top of this Vayne and ensure that with all the synergies that Vayne has, /S, that this is not going to happen in their favor. It's not looking too good. You were laughing, you were crying.
It's because it's funny.
But is the Bard synergy enough? You tend to see it with the likes of what we've seen Nami's, we've seen Lulu's, we've seen Janna's. We're not going to see any of the enchanters here today. No, we want Bard, we want mobility.
But, okay. Like, think of it like this, right?
Okay,
why does someone pick Bard? It's because you're going to leave the lane and have control of the river, maybe, you know, influence the rest of the map. That's the prototypical Bard play style.
Yes,
and usually you'll put Bard with something like an Ezreal or Aphelios with the correct weapons, you know, because it's very hard to get on them. Picking a Vayne, I would say Vayne's pretty hard to kill in certain situations. Of course, there's a Nautilus, so it's not going to be a challenge at all. But Vayne doesn't do the same thing as an Ezreal that can sit back and throw Qs. It's a short-range AD carry. So that's not exactly what we would call your stock standard synergy. When it comes to the team fighting, it's not like they have a lot in common either.
Not a lot in common either. I had nothing else to say to add to that one, so we're going to jump into the game. This is going to be the second game of the day here in week number 8. The Chiefs take it on Gravitas. Both showcasing that there are a few more picks up their sleeves, a few resurging back from form in Split 1. But a spear that will connect to showcase that everybody today, they just don't miss those skill shots.
Looking at team compositions in general here as well, you've got a lot of forward movement from the Chiefs overall. The ability to engage on someone and their sticking power, most importantly, is actually significant. Poppy is probably the most important pick on the side of Gravitas, and it is the one thing that really gives their comp some hope. Kalista has a hard time. Nautilus can't hit full hook combos. Xin Zhao can't dash. Jace can't hammer form. There's a lot there that the W could potentially outplay. Particularly, you know, being able to use the Steadfast Presence and ground the Kalista for 2 seconds after that one makes it almost impossible to beat Katsuri if they're in the same screen. Easier said than done, of course. As the one thing that Gravitas' composition will have going for them is being completely teamfight averse. So, at a certain point, you know, Suman will get a full item, Puma will get a full item, and then those two should just really never see each other for quite some time. Because they'll both just want to plant their feet into a side lane and disappear into the solo queue mindset of we just push until we win. And both of them will go Vayne spotting effectively as best they can. So I don't really think we'll get to see that team composition of Gravitas come into effect.
One thing that I will note, though, is that it's another game with Gravitas here, as the hook just gets them to the side. Another game to Gravitas where they've got Assassins, another Kalista to match and respond, and another Exhaust, this time picked up here by Katsuri.
Yeah, Katsuri, Hail of Blades, Exhaust. Again, one of the other two types of Kalistas that we have seen running around regarding their builds. It did mean that first hook from Dragku, which was very aggressively hunted towards, could have been serious kill threat. And now level 2 spike.
He's chucking them out on cooldown right now. Look at the passive damage between the two of them. Puma down so low. And he is going to be begging for some sustain to come through from this bar. We'll be chugging for those potions. And this lane doesn't get any better for a long time.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the entire laning phase. If Dragku hits another hook, they're dead.
They're in a whole bunch of trouble right now. Goes the Ignite. Dragku is 1v2ing right now as Puma's done a good job of zoning him away. So Katsuri couldn't lay down any further damage to complement him and assist in getting a very early first blood.
Yeah, the real MVP in that was Puma being able to zone Katsuri away, but can they stop a dive? They have Exhaust.
Now comes Croc, he's got double buff, stun into the wall, he's going to take a turret shot, going to flash forward as well, going to get Exhaust put on his head. Doesn't care, the man is a machine. They're going to take Praelis down underneath the turret as well. And whilst Karma does fall on down, the boys of Chiefs are pretty healthy as they find 3 kills to 1.
Okay, so 3 minutes, 25 seconds into the game, Xin Zhao finds himself with a kill. Karma trades her life for the kill as well. No response from Suman, who does get here eventually, and he does also have the Ignite, so he's not going to be able to teleport down to that one. And it's a 1-0-1 Kalista who has a significant CS advantage over him as well. Top lane's going to find itself completely isolated, so Jace loves that situation. We'll see how this plays out one more time. Beats does have Exhaust and all spells at this point. You'd expect that Croc, with the fact that he is exhausted and stunned under the turret, would go down, but flashes out, gets the Triumph proc in there as well. Minions MVP, I will say, in that trade, as they just continue to chase down the Bard. And I'm not sure what to say other than we're just going to both be play-by-plays at this point, I think.
I think we are.
I have resigned from the analyst role in this game. I refuse.
We both scream. We both shout. We both get excited because that's what casting is at its simplest form.
You can't make me. Color cars. I will not do it.
Gonna have a tantrum on stream. I like that. We're gonna see what they can try and do because there was a bit of a tantrum taking place underneath that turret. Both Praelis and Claire were the ones that fell on down as the rest of Chiefs charged forward to the second turret. But yeah, not much to sustain here. That Puma can find. He's burnt through that heal. Doesn't have any potions. Doesn't have the fleet footwork to assist. Has optimized fully for those team fights when PTA can find that value. It's going to be very crippled as he continues to fall further and further behind in the CS.
Italy hasn't really been able to find any significant jungle advantages here either. Is just going to be trying to farm up as best she can, getting towards that first major jungle item, whereas the Xin Zhao needs none of that. Can honestly just continue to clear and look for kills, especially in this bottom lane as we get close to level 6 for Katsuri. Kill threat increases, and waves are just building and crashing down in this bottom lane. So a lot of the time in competitive league, and in general actually, when you start to build and crash waves, it's very hard for teams to consciously break those builds and crashes if all 4 members are still in the bottom lane, because you don't want to fight your opponents in the stacked waves. So if this continues, the wave in about a minute and a half is going to build towards the side of Chiefs. And if they have Xin Zhao on that side of the map, it's a free freeze. They could hold the wave, they could get minion control. And right now they're sneaking away the Drake as well before that even becomes a consideration. So they're just getting every advantage they can possibly get from this. And as the Drake goes down, Gravitas will be aware that Xin Zhao's on this side of the map. So they really need to be aware of how they control these minion waves.
Yeah, they certainly will be. And Praelis has actually taken an opportunity to go and farm harder and harder as he's actually got himself up a level advantage as a result now. Getting himself some significant leads. He's actually in the mid lane right now as I see the pingers going through in a fight looking to take place. As Claire is very low. Claire actually falls on down off the screen there. A solo kill picked up by the Akali, burning both Flash and Ignite to guarantee it. And that is why this man known as Seaman is so feared in the league as the assassin player.
I mean, we do know that Praelis was in the area, may have had an influence on positioning from Claire there, but didn't have his flash. Remember that this was spells used in the bottom lane that come back to hurt him. And with the more supportive build of the Chalice of Harmony here, not going to be able to deal enough damage or anything like that. So Seaman does get control, finds some kind of advantage from that bot dive. And that's important. Suman is always the quiet achiever when he gets these assassins and is unleashed on the map. Can carry.
And I think one of the biggest differences from what we saw yesterday is we had an Aphelios and a Zed, and it was very easy for Order to optimize the Ninja Tabbies to close down both big threats. Obviously today we've got a very different variation of that, so you've got the mixed damage, so it won't be as easy to. So if one falls behind, the other still has that window to try and claw back a victory in their own respective pride.
Have you seen the new champion, by the way? Yone's damage is
so I looked, I haven't seen his numbers, but I saw his kit and I thought, yeah, that looks like, you know, your new duo partner, yourself and a Yasuo, and you're just going to be having fun, running it down together.
His current numbers are nuts, but I think that the thing that is the most broken in his current numbers is that majority of his abilities are mixed damage, so they do magic and physical. And you get to build just AD items and do mixed damage. Like, it's actually insane. Because you can't build resistances.
I was going to say that's crazy because that's such a big thing. You see in these early laning phases, right? The rushing on a tabbies, the rush on a null magic mantle to try and find that small little edge. That's not going to be a case here, but that's a thought for another time because that champion has not even been released as the fight takes place mid. It's a 2v2. Oh, that spear. He hits it. Chiefs come rocking him through.
Ooh. Bit of a biff, just going to do some damage. Nothing doing. There's not going to be any kill threat. Again, it's a Ninja Tabi Poppy into what is a lethality Jace, so he isn't going for the Manamune build or anything of the like. So just keeping him at bay, doing as much damage as he can. We've seen some really on-point Nidalee spears today.
Yeah. From the very get-go of this game, I said we got Bababesk right now as Croc goes in, pops the ultimate, flings them all back. Out go the shields, and there's the Rufflecopter as he laughs himself out to harm's way. But Draku is in the area. He has the flash, gonna just go for the max range hook as Clay comes on through, hits him with the empowered Q. And the Tether will take him down. Nobody doesn't get to have the last laugh as he falls on down. As now Katsuri, in a change of occasions, he's the one in a 1v2.
The selfless nobody throws himself at Croc to try and get him out of Kralis' jungle. Already down 32 CS. Now doesn't have the flash and is about to teleport up to that lane. He tried to help his team. That backfired. Not even the Nope cannon coming out of his ultimate was going to be enough to actually save the day there. Unfortunately for him, he's going to fall further and further behind. Top lane's becoming an absolute disaster. Bot lane, Puma might even try and take this 1v1 with his ult. I thought he might consider it just because no mana on Katsuri.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know for certain that it's isolated, so takes the safe option.
All the summoners were available if they did decide to commit to that one. But it is a risky play, as you say. And I'm sure he'll be quite grateful and glad that he didn't decide to go for it, as Draku was on his way. Questions now, as towards mid, where I continue to see the majority of the action with the supports roaming, and you can see that nobody is a little bit flustered here, as he's not able to do too much in this lane state, and is looking for opportunities and avenues elsewhere to attack.
And he has as much money as supports right now. He's been doing nothing.
Yeah.
He's struggling. He's thankfully a tank, but he's not like an Ornn. He's not going to be able to just be naturally buff or anything like that. He's still going to require having some farm, having some items consistently throughout the game to be relevant. I do think that this removes the opportunity for a Trinity Force build. Let's just throw that one out there. He's probably just going to have to be full tank. Suman.
Yeah, Suman looking for the all-in right now. Definitely as the smoke screen comes out, he pops the ignite. Holding that charge to dash on through. Decides not to go for it. But his team do come on through to back him up in case a fight would have turned around on his head.
You know, one of the biggest breakpoints that most Akali players will have is the Cutlass.
Yeah.
Once you actually have that activatable item, your kill threat goes up significantly. Not just because of the damage that you have, like when you couple that with Ignite, it's in like 300 range. But the fact that there's a slow for sticking power, as a lot of Akali's build is, alright, nobody.
Nobody is taking a fight. Oh no, he's knocked back the minions. That's the worst case scenario. As Prayless comes on through, a teleport connects, and a kill was picked up and said, well, I wanted the Poppy, but I'll take the Nidalee instead. Thank you very much. It's, They're
going to dive bottom here. If they dive bottom and it's successful, the game's like giga doomed. But they are going to smartly back away here, Gravitas. They're going to be zoned away, however. Oh.
I don't even know what to say. It's a Temper Fate used to try and knock out that charge. It is successful, but the turret will fall on down still the same. The map has been split up. The side lanes are being attacked. And the Chiefs are breaking through the base as they pick up the first turret here at 12 minutes.
Yeah, easy as you'd like. We are, not only are we 12 minutes in, Skimmy, we're pushing 5,000 gold advantage for the Chiefs in a pretty casual game of League of Legends. We are starting to get our first item spikes, really meaningful ones in particular, the Akali and the Nidalee.
Yeah.
They've got their completed jungle item in Sork Shoes, as well as the Hextech Gunblade. Suman's going to have a crack at it, see how much he does.
Yeah, he's going to go and showcase what he can do right now. But there's the Jace, and with Youmu's a fair bit of lethality and some magical footwear. He makes light work of that.
He has been baited so hard. Suman is playing like a solo queue player, just trying to take the one-on-one. And that was so simple from Claire.
I mean, he went for the damage check. He says, look, I've got this brand new shiny item. It's a present from the shopkeeper.
Yeah, no doubt. Suman's mind was like, I could win this 1v1. And then Dan's like, 1v1, you say? Nope.
No, he didn't honour that one. He tipped his fedora, and he guaranteed the fight worked in their favour. The action doesn't stop there, Rusty. Chiefs continue to be everywhere on the map. Continue to be in the face of their opponents and make sure that all those turret plates, you know, We want it all. We're not allowing this to be a situation where 14-minute comes across and we haven't built this gold lead to something absurd.
And if Poppy and Jace could just stop farming, it's ruined. We had CS synergy there between top laners. Nevertheless, I think they are going to continue to push this mid lane turret. You've got 2-3 as the lane assignment set up. So hang on.
They're looking for it. Now Tien does have his flash. If he wants to decide to burn it right now, he's going to get stunned. Going to go for the 1v3 as he hammers himself in, but receives an exhaust and gets pounced upon for a big shutdown there by the captain. Kralis finds him and takes a red buff for his efforts as well. Now, what is the response here from the Chiefs? The hook lands, Croc jumps in. But the ultimate if he decides it. But he's actually baited out his supporters. An empowered shield gives him a meaty bit of mitigation, but more so the movement speed to run on through. The face check actually favors Gravitas.
Yeah, and it was a big mistake from Tien, let's just say, first of all. Puts himself in a very weird position. Nobody misses the baseball. That is absolutely strike one. Strike two coming hot at his face there. He's going to have to back away. But yeah, Jace positioned super aggressively. And it was in the face, effectively, of Gravitas, who appropriately punished him. So Tien's learned his lesson. No amount of karma shielding is going to save you from the just absolute spattering of crowd control damage that comes out of a fully grouped Gravitas.
Unfortunately for them, there was nothing to really contest on the map at that stage, so that fight, that little biff that took place, couldn't balloon into anything further at that stage. More lethality starting to come online here. Not going to go for the Mana Mune himself. Nope, just going to pick up a blue buff instead to find that cooldown reduction and that insane damage from afar.
Yeah, that works for sure. If you're able to pick up blue buffs, then absolutely go for your life. Let that lethality do as much damage as you can to the carries. Imagine being Vayne in this game, you know? You just exist for a hot second on a minion wave and you're dead. That's just the way that it's going to play out. And I'm not sure that that gets better if you position yourself like Vayne wants to be, which is in a side lane. If the Jace is there. You'd be hunting for the Karma lane probably as well, but Karma's purpose is effectively going to be to group more often because you want to have the Xin Zhao and the Karma together.
Look how patient Suman is playing in that bottom lane right now. I don't believe the Q from Claire actually revealed him, so he's waiting for that 1v1. He's waiting for that wave to push a little bit further so we can take that fight. Action still in the mid as Croc, well, the jungle really does belong to him. 2 Heralds, 2 Dragons. He's just playing PvE mode at this stage.
And the game's just kind of holding, where this holds state at a 5,000 gold difference. This mid lane turret will break, which opens up the map a lot more for the side of the Chiefs, but the gold is not stretching anywhere crazy from where it was at. Remember, we were 12 minutes in and it was out of hand. So
yeah,
a couple of trades back and forth, some shutdowns into the hands of Gravitas, and they're able to slow this game down at the very least. They haven't stopped the snowball, but it has been slowed.
Been slowed down to a degree there, as Claire did not get taken on through. Now going into this next fight, if Gravitas went searching for it, there are now 2 exhausts as the unsealed spellbook allows Claire to find one himself. But based on the positioning and based on the current power that Gravitas have, they will decide to continue to look elsewhere. And it might be a case of trying to catch out Tien topside. As you can see, Kratos is hunting in the area, more likely to deny some jungle camps and continue to find a lead in his own right. Well, they're going to zone him away from this. And, nobody needs this money so much to really try and get himself into this game and Tempered Fate. It got used, Rusty. It got used.
He's tempering with Fate on that particular patch of grass and shrubbery, but not on the Jace, as he's able to use that Ghost Blade and walk himself out in a casual pace. Beats is going to be a little bit sad about that one, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and you miss some of the ones you do. That's just the way life is.
That is just the way life is. As a wise man once said, you get those sometimes. As now the Herald will be summoned. Going to be summoned through mid lane as the Chiefs continue to run rampant in taking down all the structures that belong to them. 4 down so far, and there's the 5th, as they've now broken their way towards exposing mid and bottom inhibitors.
Yeah, we're almost at 10,000 gold difference, 17 minutes into this, and there's only 9 kills to speak of. Herald going to get another charge in here as well. If Jace is grouped up with the team, then the team of the Chiefs is far stronger than their opponents in Gravitas. Karma now going to come into the fray here as well, Skimmy. So we're at a point where the Chiefs have decided now's a good time to really start grouping. The vision control that Gravitas have is really deep. Wrong side of the map right now for the state of this game. They're going to have to reset that sooner or later. Might just be well out of hand at this point. Really not sure what Gravitas do to get back into this one. We've had some weird games to start the day off. Most unusual.
It's been early games that have just ballooned, snowballed, and gone crazy. And it feels like teams are definitely starting to invest more into achieving leads to start off the game, rather than leaving it to chance, rather than just passively playing until those 2 items come online and then saying, all right, let's give it a go. Let's have a crack at things. What I will mention for Gravitas is Praelus is incredibly strong at this stage of the game. He's got the Runic Echoes obviously online, and with the Oblivion Orb with those Sork shoes. If he can connect with a target, specifically the likes of Callista or the Jace, could be close to doing true damage.
He's kind of at that point of maximum damage, besides like a Lich Bane coming into the build later on. Just at this point, you know, when you look at the magic resistance on the opposing side, there is a little bit. He's not going to get too much stronger from this moment. Praelus level 11 definitely wants to start hitting those spears ASAP to get onto the board for his team, get some money back in their pockets. If he doesn't, then the clock will start to speed up further and further. You've got 2 minutes realistically on what is the existing clock in this game. With an Infernal Soul being up then. Until such a point, Gravitas may have opportunities here and there. It's about vision. Vision control more than anything else. If they're able to, you know, work together, put Beats and Praelus on the same screen, get some wards down, maybe they find kills.
Certainly need to, as that's what they're doing right now, wrestling for some form of control of their bottom side jungle. Nobody in a whole bunch of trouble. He's forced to flash away. He's holding up that baseball, doesn't hit it. That's strike 2, and the spear won't connect as well to add insult to injury as the Chiefs run rampant through the enemy's jungle and find those picks to prevent the comeback condition. But hang on a minute.
Okay.
There's one. There's the initiation attempt. That's what we've been waiting for. They find one. The beautiful tumble denies the second, as the initiation attempt was there for Draku. That's what they're banking on, is a little bit of damage, facilitated by the likes of this poke, and then the assassins just to pounce upon it and take you down in a heartbeat.
Yeah, Suman does his best, but it is just going to be traded back in the end. This is one of those things where if the game was dead even, maybe that was a different outcome. Big spear from a big flank, Bard ulti.
Yep, that's what we're looking to see now. How many more spears can he land so far? That's another target soaking up the damage. Nobody respawns, but nobody gets taken on down. Just as easy as that once more. 2 kills once again found in the base of Gravitas. As Praelus can no longer look to play flank, he is forced to run away. Pouncing, flashing, and hoping that this team will just leave him alone. They commit their summoners as well. And there were no more options left for him to play hide and seek.
Yeah, Draku going to make sure that the kill is secured. No chance to get away. Claire just throws the Ignite down. I don't think he's going to want to commit to that one by any means. Human's still going to be the apex predator of that 1v1 situation. I think he was just cycling through an unsealed spellbook stack there to get back towards having the teleport. Nevertheless, while an inhibitor drops, 21 minutes into this game, I think they'd be comfortable with the inhib being in mid lane, because now they get something to farm. You know, and that's one place less for the Chiefs to be farming, except for the fact that there's an Infernal Soul about to be up at 22 minutes on the dot. And if they get that, I mean, that's pretty much your left, right, good night. See you later, Gravitas, in this game.
Well, let's see what Gravitas can do. Nobody needs to play goalkeeper, needs to protect his team. This time hits the baseball, separates the members away. 4v5, that's a stone plate pop, but a Fate's Call makes it so easy to ensure that Nautilus can face check and not take any punishment. Now they're going to use their gate from the Jace to ensure that they can zone them away and say, I can do just what and Italy can do as well. The Dragon's picked on up, and that is now an Infernal Soul. Extra damage, and extra conviction in picking these targets and making sure they fall on down. There's Croc, he's angry. And whilst the Akali does go golden, he will take him down eventually.
Goes golden, goes grey. TN also going to teleport in here as well and just completely blow them up. Gravitas with 20 seconds left on the death pipe is Skibby. There's pretty much no way out of the result of this game being inevitable. That is that the Chiefs have absolutely slaughtered Gravitas.
They most certainly have. It was a flawless ace. 16 kills to 4, and at the 23-minute mark here, the Chiefs...
Oh, they want to try it.
I'm just going to pet their... Oh,
end it right now. What was that?
I'm standing up out of my chair. That was That was gross! Well, that's the KDA farm, and that's the damage that showcases exactly what that game really was.
That was a rump roasting. It was one-sided. It was a... What are some other... It was a pooper scooper. Pooper scoopering.
Oh,
it was just really unfair. It was just one-sided. What can you say? Draft basically determined the outcome of that one. It went as we all expected. You know?
I don't know. I'm a little bit dumbfounded by what we just witnessed there, especially the end. That is the ramp-up of Lethality Jace, ladies and gentlemen. That'll do it for game number 2. We're going to jump to game number 3 right after the break, and that will be Mammoth taking on Pentanet.gg.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got this! It's deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.